afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to TNB TV. I'm your host for today, Olebrechuku Sharon James. Today we are at Free Print Library and we're going to be running a short documentary on the library. Please sit back and enjoy. Thank you. Welcome back to TNB TV. With us here we have Dr. Raphael James, the founder of this great organization, Cream Museum. Please tell us, what motivated you, what inspired you to set this up?
At a point in time in my life, I discovered that quite a lot of young people, even those who own a certificate, didn't really have a value of the certificate they had. And I started asking myself, what can I do to help them? And I discovered one of the biggest challenges we've had in Nigeria is the fact that we don't read. And even the few people who read don't really read to get knowledge. They just read probably to pass an exam. And I said, let me not join the bandwagon of those who are complaining that things are not working in Nigeria. Let me work out a solution to make things work. And that's actually what motivated me to set up the library. And that was, the library came into effect on December 2004. So we're about 14 years now going.
Congrats. You spoke about challenges. Personally, what has been your toughest challenge so far?
My challenge as in running the library,
Yes,
that should be the fact that people don't actually come to read, despite the fact that the library is free. The library was set up free from day one, and up till date, I think we've had about maybe about 15,000 registered members. But even with that, you discover that most people just come, they register, and they disappear. You don't see them come to read to get knowledge. They only come during that exam period, and after reading for exams, that is the end of it.
So does this discourage you? Do you ever feel discouraged at the fact that people don't come to read to get knowledge just to pass the exams?
No, I don't feel discouraged, and that is because I knew that is the situation of things even before I started it. And that is why I've been going on since then. I'm hoping that the time will come in society where we'll have more libraries, just like we have the number of churches we have, and that will encourage more people to read. Because I believe sincerely that if we have the number of churches, the number of libraries we have as much as we have churches, like in every state in Nigeria, for example, you see about 2 or 3 churches. If we have at least a library in every street in Nigeria, you will see more young people willing to go and read because they will have access to where they can walk in and have access to books that they can read.
Thank you. So far, has the government been involved in any activities the library has had in past years?
The last 14 years, I would say no.
In future, would you like them to get involved?
Of course, what we are doing is not just for the community, but the government somehow have to be part of it. I should say I understand the Lagos State government or Governor Ambode is interested in promoting the reading culture, and he has started making working on private partnership with owners of libraries in Lagos State. On that basis, I must say I got a phone call just yesterday inviting me over for the book reading event being organized by the Commissioner for Education in Lagos State. But beside that, so far, government have not been involved. Even at the local government level, they've not been involved in what I'm doing. So this have actually been a one-man effort to change the society.
Thank you. In universities now, most people go to the library not to read per se, but for the free Wi-Fi and the air conditioners they get. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I must say I like that question you just asked. The younger generation believes more on the internet. Some of us who are coming from the older side of the world, we believe in the printed material. No matter what you do on the net, it is not and it can never be the same thing as when you consult printed materials. I would want to use this opportunity to also talk to the younger generation. Yeah, the Wi-Fi thing is good that you get on the internet and you browse and all that. But you see, if somebody have not taken the pain before now to download those materials on the net, you will not have access to them. So the more we read the printed material, the more we can actually get most of these materials back into the net for those who are coming up to have access to it.
Thank you. President Mohamed Buhari, GCFR, said that Nigerian youths are lazy. What do you have to say about that?
Action.
Well, the much I remember, I don't think the Mr. President said all Nigerian youths are lazy. What he said is that some Nigerian youths are lazy. And that is a matter of fact. I agree with him. Recently we saw young people who are into drugs. Not even the kind of drugs we all know. Imagine people taking codeine. As a young man growing up, I took codeine when I have cough. You know, but not to the point of taking it to abuse my health. Now, then that is one. Then again, you look at the fact that quite a lot of young people are not even willing to work. They're not willing to do things for themselves. And that is from the angle where Mr. President is looking at it, that he says some Nigerian youths are lazy. But there's just one thing we can do. Nigerian youths can actually prove to Mr. President that they are not lazy by working, by doing something meaningful for themselves. If, for example, we have today, as we're here today, we have quite a lot of young people here. This recording is being done by young people who are almost at the age of below 20. That shows that all Nigerian youths are not lazy, but some of them. Thank you.
I talked the last time. You mentioned something about working. Most people now, not just Nigerian youths, even the adults, has a mentality that for you to work, you have to go to school, earn a certificate, then go to an organization to work. Why?
It wasn't like this before. I know in the 60s, once you go to school, as you're graduating, in fact, if you're going for a youth service those days, when they started NYSC, you see employers will come at the NYSC camp. They want to look out for the best set of graduating students, and they take you from NYSC camp to employ you. But now the population have increased. There are quite a lot of graduates graduating on daily basis. More people are graduating, and there are less jobs available. And that is why, for you to start waiting for you to get for you to be employed, you're actually tasking yourself. People should come up with concepts that they can do. Let me give you an example. As an undergraduate in university, I ran a Coca-Cola kiosk and I was selling drinks in school. My mates were laughing at me that, why is this guy not concentrating on his studies? I was doing my studies, but I was making money. And that, to a large extent, prepared me for the society I was coming to face after university days. And when I finished school, during my service year, for example, during my youth service year, I did about 13 community development projects. And one of those projects gave me an upper hand to get an employment immediately after my NYSC. So 2 days after my service year, I got an automatic employment without applying for it. It's not because I was the best, it's just because I prepared myself. And that is what we're telling the youth to do. Prepare yourself as you're growing. Don't just depend on your parents. Don't depend on the society. Don't depend on government, because government has so much in their hands because of the population that people will have. Now, when you learn a skill, for those who have a skill, if you're a photographer, for example, and you enter the university, you discover that you can actually use your camera to make money as a student. Your mates want to snap pictures. It's not all the time they want to use their phones to take selfies. You use your camera and you take them photographs, you make money. You prepare yourself for a bigger tomorrow. We've had people who have photographers who have become so rich taking photographs. So there's no big deal about it. You can actually go to, if you might decide to sell, some students buy and sell. No, the basic thing I'm trying to say here is, even as a student, even before graduating, prepare yourself for the world ahead of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now this question is going to take you back to childhood.
Okay.
When you were younger, what did you actually see yourself becoming in the, let's say, in 30 years from now?
Okay, while growing up, I had a very crazy ambition. My ambition was to know my position in the world. And each time I've said it, people always laugh at it. I'll give you an example. The United Nations Secretary General is said to be the #1 citizen of, I think, yeah, the US, no, the President of America is rated as the #1 citizen of the world. And the US Secretary General is rated as #2 citizen of the world. My ambition as a young man was to know my position. If President Mohamed Buhari, GCFR, for example, is the #1 citizen of Nigeria, what is the position of Raphael James? That was my ambition as a young man. So I was doing everything practical to make me grow up and know my positions. Today, I should say I've actually not really achieved that. Well, recently I won an award. I was voted as the most reliable man in Africa. So that makes me #1 reliable person in Africa. At least that gave me a position, which is what I've been aiming as a young man. But that is not the kind of position. I want more. I want to do something unique to the society that I'll be rated based on that position.
Thank you. You've given so much to your society, the environment around you. What can you say it has given back to you? Have you received anything from it, especially in this harsh economy we are in right now?
Well, in terms of financial benefit, I would say no. But I've actually gained a whole lot. And let me tell you what I've gained. I've mentored young people who looked up to me and believed that if they can be like me, they will achieve a lot in life. And because I've put them through in life, that gave me a lot of happiness. I've had young people who passed through my library, who prepared for the jam in the library. I had a case last year. A young man came here. He did his jam and GCE with me when I was in Ejigbo, when the library was in Ejigbo. Now he's a qualified medical doctor. And he brought a bottle of wine to tell me thank you. Honestly speaking, to me, that is the greatest achievement I can do. I don't have to buy a private jet to fly to call that an achievement. Just last week, if you remember very well, I went to a supermarket. I wanted to buy a bottle of Ribena. And when I ordered for the Ribena, somebody behind me paid for the Ribena. And I told him, I said, I'm the one buying, not you. He said, sir, you don't know me. I said, no, I can't remember you. Have we met before? He said, yes, sir. You used to have a library. I said, I still have a library. He said, no, I've been to where the library was in Ejigbo. It's not there. And I said, oh, interestingly, I've moved now. I'm now in Ejigbo. He said, I used your library then to prepare for my jam. I'm a graduate now, and I work with Chevron. I even gave him a hug, not even a handshake, because I felt happiness. I felt some sense of satisfaction in me. That is actually my greatest achievement in life so far.
Oh, that's quite inspiring.
Thank you very much.
Now, before we end this, because we are at the peak of it, would you like to say something to people out there?
What I would tell Nigerians and the world generally is read. Readers are leaders. If you don't read, you cannot lead. If you can't read, you cannot lead. I say that always. Take a good example in our society today. Take a good look at our government today. If we have readers in government, we will have super leaders. God bless us.
Thank you, sir. That was Dr. Raphael James. It was quite nice having him. I believe he's doing a very, very nice job for the society. I believe if more people pick up things like this and do them, the society will be a better place for everybody. Thank you. Stay tuned to TNB TV as we bring you more events, more inspiring talks from people. Thank you.